Hi, this is Kristen here. Welcome to another process video. And today I'm working on 30 days of sketches with Christy's Beautiful Life. And this is day number 30, so it's the final day. And the sketch is by Miss Carrie at MissCarriesCreations.com. And so you see it's kind of got like a square piece of paper with kind of, it looks almost like mixed media, a couple floral elements, a title, and then it looks like another kind of long piece of paper kind of going vertically behind your square. And so what I'm going to be using here is Echoes of Time. So that's 49 Market. This is that designed by Joanne Bain. Same creator of Nature's Haven and Little Celebrations. And what was the other one? Little Celebrations, and it was one that kind of went with that. I don't know why I'm blanking. And so I'm going to be documenting this photograph of my son. So this is my oldest. He's now 11. And I really like this photograph. So I ended up printing it in black and white just because I kind of felt like it had kind of an old-timey feel to it. So I just thought that this collection would be really good to do with this picture. So, and that's the reason why I went ahead and printed off black and white, because, you know, of course there weren't color papers back in the day. And so I am just going through the different papers here. It is a beautiful collection. It's got a lot of, it's kind of got almost like a feminine steampunk feel to it, with almost like an Alice in Wonderland kind of feel to it, a little bit of it. So anyways, I'm just going through the different papers here. Now, I am posting this video a day late, not because I was behind. I actually did stay on track with these, but because I had my Bramble Fox design team video that came out, needed to come out on the 30th. So I didn't want to interfere with that, so since I'm on the design team. So anyway, so I'm kind of going back and forth between these couple of photographs. Now, since it looked like there was mixed media, I kind of was wanting to pick out one of the papers that kind of already had like a mixed media, which, I mean, pretty much almost all 49 Market paper has like a mixed media feel to it anyways, but I was kind of wanting to try to grab one that had kind of almost like a similar look to it as what the sketch did. And I kind of felt like this one really hit the mark for that. And then I'm going to take this paper here and cut it and back my photograph with that. Not quite a square, like as in the sketch, but, you know, close enough. And it kind of almost matched up with the design on the right-hand side of that background paper. So that's kind of what I was going to do, is kind of match it up a little bit, because it kind of looked like, you know, it naturally just kind of went there. So I'm going to go ahead and edge distress this. And then just get everything lined back up here. I really love this photograph. It's one of my favorites of him, so. And so I'm going to start pulling in some different ephemera pieces here. So this is from the die cut package that you could get. I really like that frame there, but I do end up pulling that off, and you'll see in a little bit kind of why I leaned away from it and end up taking it off. These little banner pieces I thought looked kind of cute tucked in down there. And I was going to put that frame there, and I end up going away from that too. Pulling in some different chipboard pieces. So these, a lot of like titles and things like that was in that particular package. And so the title is going to be Whispers of Yesterday, because, you know, he's now 11. I'm just now getting around to actually doing a layout of him at that age. And these clocks are chipboard pieces, so. Now, the number one, I wanted to get that worked in there kind of somewhere, kind of like in a hidden manner, because these were technically photographs for his first birthday. But I kind of didn't want it. I wanted it to be kind of subtle. I also pull in that little owl with the top hat on. My son's spirit animal is an owl. There's kind of a whole story that goes on with that. And so I'm going to pull in some of these floral pieces from the laser cut. Which I ended up buying 2 packages of the floral laser cut. So there were 2 different laser cut sets that you could buy with this collection. One was predominantly floral, and then the other one had some pipes on it, like kind of a steampunk. And it's still, I believe it still had florals, but it was like more like elements, like suitcases and things like that. So I decided I'm going to do clusters of 3 kind of around the photograph. These are like little gears. And so you can see that's the other sheet, that laser cut sheet. So you can see it's like more, kind of like items more than it is floral pieces. But they're still like floral kind of, to those pieces as well. So I pull in this clock here, I guess a stopwatch. And I love purple. So as soon as I saw this collection come out, I knew I was going to buy it. I mean, pretty much every 49 Market product that comes out, as soon as it hits, I'm like, okay, I really don't need it. But then I find myself buying it. It's just so pretty. And the laser cuts are just, I mean, they're wonderful. So anyways, but as soon as I saw like the purple elements in this, I was like, I'm so going to have to get that. And all their designers do a great job. They really do a good job of like really making the papers look layered. So here is where I pull off the frame. I like that clock up there, but I really like the frame. So you can see like I'm kind of going back and forth between the two. But I kind of felt like the florals, when I was sticking it up there, it was either covering up too much of the frame, so the frame was kind of getting lost. But then I also felt like the frame was kind of taking away from the floral elements as well. So that's kind of why I was going back and forth between the two, trying to decide. And I really like that clock up there too, but again, I kind of just felt like it was getting a little lost. I didn't want that particular cluster up there to be too big compared to the other 2 clusters. I mean, I didn't mind if it was a little bit bigger, but I was just trying to kind of keep it, balanced as much as I could. I tried to kind of work in this little vine piece, again, trying to work with like having that frame still on there. And it was like, I wasn't happy with it. I think looking at it now, like it looks okay, it looks fine. But it just, while I was doing it, I was like, I just feel like it's too much up there, I guess, so. And again, you never want your elements on your, at least in my personal opinion, I don't ever want the clusters and the pieces on my paper to overwhelm the photograph. Like I want the photograph to be, front and center for the most part. Everything is supposed to kind of accentuate the photograph, because that's, kind of the whole point of, at least in my point of view, scrapbooking is to get some of these, your favorite photos down, memories, and kind of enhance it, I guess, to a degree. And for me, like, this is a good way to be creative. I can't draw, I can't sing, so like scrapbooking and working with pretty paper products for me is like a way to, I guess I'm more crafty, I suppose. So here's where I think I finally decided, okay, I'm taking away that frame, because now you can see the floral elements kind of, you know, creeping up in the back a little bit better. I felt like it was getting hidden on the frame, and then you were hiding a lot of the frame too, so, which that frame's pretty, so you kind of want it to be, you know, kind of a main element on your photo or on your layout. I did end up tucking that one in there. I don't know that it stays that tucked in. I think it kind of ends up popping out a little bit more, but I felt like I wanted something else up here, like a gear or a clock or something, just to kind of add up here. So that's kind of what I'm looking at different pieces here. And then I really wanted to do a rub-on. I didn't want to do too big of a rub-on, but I just felt like that cluster was kind of like abruptly ending, and I just wanted it to kind of end a little bit more softly, because if you notice on the right clusters, the top and the bottom, it's kind of faded into the paper, or, you know, like that background to me is a little bit more not as stark. There's a little bit more mixed media look to it, whereas on the left it's a little bit more you know, kind of a solid color over there. And so I kind of felt like it looked like that clock just ended really kind of abruptly. And so I'm trying to pick out some kind of rub-on to put back there without it, you know, being too much, just to add a little bit to soften that, you know, that cluster ending there. I guess in my viewpoint, I like for my clusters to kind of have like a gradual end, if I can, rather than like an abrupt end. I don't know if that makes sense, but like in my mind and my thought process and kind of what I'm thinking of when I'm doing these layouts, that's kind of where I'm coming at with that. So, but again, I also felt like then if I was going to put a rub-on down there, I wanted one up at the top as well. So I'm going to actually pull everything off and get it all to here down, so you can see I've added that rub-on to the left, and then that gear rub-on up there above the gear on the left cluster there. And then I'm going to have a couple close-up shots here, and I really appreciate you for coming by to watch another process video.